Greetings, friends. We are progressing along in our homily series. Don't believe everything you think. I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. Actually, I'm being challenged by it myself. We started talking about rethinking our choices. And then the meeting of the minds, God's mind and our mind. And then last week, change your mind. This week, something to think about. Now, what is it that we are to think about? Well, our readings have to do with vineyards. And in Isaiah, we see him going out amongst the people, and he starts singing a love song, and everybody thinks, oh, wow, Isaiah's in a good mood today. He's singing a love song. He's singing a love song about his beloved who builds a vineyard. Oh, wow, okay, vineyards are nice. And so explains each verse as he sings it sort of explains more and more what he did to it. He got this long, huge part alongside of a mountain where he cleared of the stones and where he dug it all up, making rich earth, planting choice vines, and even building a watchtower in it, because back in the day, these vineyards were huge, and you had to have somebody watching it to keep undesirables from stealing and sneaking into the vineyard. And everything is set up just right. He's expecting to get a wonderful yield. And so he comes, and what happens? He finds that instead of nice, luscious grapes, there's baoshim. That's the Hebrew word for stinky things, rotten grapes, sour grapes, my goodness. Okay, that's not what you expect. And he is, of course, talking about a metaphor of the house of Israel. He expected justice, and there was no justice. There's bloodshed, there's violence, righteousness, but there's an outcry. That's a shocker, isn't it? Yeah, something to think about, isn't it? Jesus uses the same imagery of a vineyard in our reading today, where the vineyard owner leaves the vineyard to tenants, and he comes and he expects from his tenants good grapes. Instead, what he sees, violence. Wow. Vineyards are supposed to be a place of peace, aren't they? and there's violence. Now, Paul takes us to the whole idea of peace. And here I'd like to challenge us, have us to think about ourselves being a vineyard, a planting of God. And Paul says, do not be anxious about anything. Do you have anxieties? Do not be anxious about anything, but everything in prayer and supplication, bring a request to the Lord. And the peace of God, which passes all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in the knowledge of God. And then he says, if there's anything true, everything honorable, anything right, if there's anything worthy of praise, think on these things. Again, think. Yeah, something to think about. And the peace of God, which passes all understanding, will be with you. What's your vineyard like? What's mine like? Is it full of anxiety? These are anxious times, aren't they? Yeah. Well, Jesus is challenging us to think about your vineyard. Yeah, something to think about. Now, to help you along with this, you should be preparing for our Rosary Congress, which starts Saturday evening at the Mass, and afterward there's going to be a Marian procession around the parking lot, and it starts a whole week of prayer. Please sign up for a time for you to be with Jesus, and you can commune with him in your hearts to help sort out what's going on there. Something to think about, right? I hope there's peace in your vineyard. God bless.